Hello, future people.
Or-
Welcome to the Jwar Isles. I am back with Brother Bear. We haven't done this for a long time. Since I
Indeed,
reckon it's
we
probably
have.
been 18 months or so.
Yeah, definitely has been. It's been a while. One of us took a bit of a break from.
We
It
both
was
took a
too
bit of a
much
break, to be fair.
publicity, and the paparazzi were following me everywhere. I couldn't handle it. No, I'm kidding. No, just a lot of things. Life gets in the way, and just yeah.
Life gets
But
in the
no,
way. We'd also kind of reached a natural conclusion of like, we'd done all of the factions, and although, yes, there's models we could have gone back to recover, it wasn't really enough to do a full on episode without the inspiration there. But we've got a couple of new
yeah,
factions. Well, not factions. We actually no. We do have a new faction, but we also have a couple of
when
new
you back,
boxes that we're going to slowly try and get through. And today we
yeah,
are starting with the Deep, as you can see down below us.
yeah. Your thoughts with the deep.
So when I was talking
Yes,
about this on the podcast, I mentioned that this was an event box, and there seems to be a little bit of confusion as to what the intention for this is. I was led to believe, and apparently this isn't necessarily true, we're not 100% sure here, but I was led to believe that this was only being sold at events. However, you can also buy this online during those events. Apparently, this box set at some stage in the near future should be coming available for regular release. We don't have dates for when that happens. That
yeah.
is our understanding at the current point in time.
To define these box sets. So they're like it's like a sub faction, as we sort of like talked about in
Yep.
the Open Rebellion, the Shiho one with the wolves. So they sort of they come out for a little bit in terms of like on an event just to build up popularity, and then they then get a release for general release. And what that time could be 6 months, we don't know. The wolves one I remember taking for ages to get for general release, but that could have also been COVID and such. But yes, I think at the moment it is event exclusive. So if they have some at events, they'll sell them out. But then, yeah, it will be eventually general release.
Yep.
The Silver Moon one, um, that one is now available on general release as well. So that was previewed some time ago. So yeah, it'll be exciting to see when these models drop because some of them are really really cool. I like the the deep sort of fish sort of like look, and that's pretty interesting.
I love the Lovecraftian aspects of it. I mean, it's not purely Lovecraftian, but it's very
Close.
inspired.
Yeah,
I love
very
the
cool.
giant noses on the crabs. It just makes no sense, and I'm here for it.
Yeah, the what are they called? Mayo, the Mayokomo's echo, where the shells of them look like the, the death mask on the samurai. You know how they have those sort of masks?
Yep.
They look very similar to it. It's sort of inspired by that, which is also really cool because clearly these guys have gone into like massive like depth into depth, deep puns have gone into a lot like the deep thought in terms of like their design for all the characters and the models.
Yeah. I like it when
Yeah, really cool.
it's nice when a faction has its own. Well, I shouldn't say faction, but when it has its own unique feel. Like this feels something very different from everything else in the game. Much like the Cult of Uri box, those skeletons don't look like anything else in the game. Best skeletons on the market, I'll say it again. Um, but it doesn't feel like it doesn't fit. It still feels like it belongs in the game. Because there's enough aspects that ties it back to what inspired Lovecraftian horror, which is
Yeah.
mythology from across the world. And
Yeah,
people's
so
insane
what I
thoughts.
like about the Jung faction, probably what we covered a bit in the actual Jung video that we have, I like how you can go different routes, like
Yep.
especially with all the factions sort of do it, but like Jung, I like you can go the pirate heavy, or you can go black powder heavy, or you can go your mutant crabmen, mutant sharkmen heavy as well. And then obviously the deep now, there's one or two models that you can only use in the deep theme itself, but the rest of them are able to be used in regular Jung themes as well. So it's worth the box set's worth getting, even if you're just a fan.
Even if you just want to paint some stuff, I mean, there's plenty of pretty things here to paint.
Yeah, that Fu Ranku, that jellyfish, that screams contrast paints.
Oh yeah, I didn't even notice this when we were looking at it on Sunday, but the top of it all covered in screaming heads.
Yeah,
I didn't even notice it, and it just makes it even cooler.
I was actually funny enough, before we did this, I was listening to a podcast that they were talking about the models, and then they mentioned those screaming skulls as well.
I like details like that where you almost don't need to notice it, but when you do, it just adds so much. Like the octopus man. Like, he's not an octopus man. It is an octopus that's standing up like a person. Like, there is no body. The head is just like, those are tentacles, not legs. It's so good. So at a couple of points during this episode, you may notice Ben's voice breaking in and out, and I will try and edit around that as much as possible, or get Ben to repeat things if we need to. Ben, people that have watched this channel before will know that Ben's internet can kind of have fun, so Ben knows that I will tell him to say things again if he needs to. You're fine so far, don't worry. Where would you like to start? I'm assuming you want to start with the theme.
Probably the best way to go is to get that way we get all the information there.
Yep.
Because there are, you'll see in the theme, obviously it's there is details on the theme, and the models themselves will refer back to items on it. So the theme, the Red Pearl event costs 0 rice when recruiting into this warband. Friendly faction models gain range defense +1. It's sort of giving them that surrounding water sort of effect against enemy ranged attacks. +1 to your range defense is always helpful. Yep. In the starting phase, choose a friendly deep model. That model gains terror into the end phase. So that's every single turn. That's awesome. It's not just a once per game event or whatever. Now we go into the once per game. Once per game in the starting phase, place a 5-inch circular normal zone 0 terrain element centered around each friendly water kami on the battlefield. Enemy models treat this terrain element as difficult, and models that have the fire item lose 1 activation counter as if they are in the area of the element when placed. Now we'll go into Anko. So I'm sorry if I butcher any of these names. Jong Kyo Jun.
Jong Kaikoku would be my assumption.
And then Johnny
Mitsukurina.
Yep. So that probably refers to those items. Oh, sorry, that is the captain and like the lieutenant.
Yes, because it's Jung Force.
Yep. So as per every Jung Force, they have a captain. Then they have the sort of lieutenant. So as for this faction, you've got Jung models, Ronin, Surai, Ronin Kami, Ronin Yokai. Exclusions, other Kanko or Uni that those listed. So other than those listed, sorry. And then Buto and Kaizuku. Those are the exclusions of the theme.
Jung don't even have any Buto, do they?
They do. There is one Buto model. He's the gentleman with the large axe on his shoulder.
Okay. I
can't remember his name at the moment. But yeah, they only have one at this stage, I would imagine.
Yeah.
So what we might do is move on to the Red Pearl, the event. We'll move on next onto the Red Pearl, which is an event card. So this card is purchased as an event. Before deployment, it must be given to an opponent who must attach the Red Pearl enhancement card to one of their valid, unique models of your choice, ignoring faction. Now, requirements for the warband that has recruited the deep theme or a can show. So, Red Pearl event enhancement card what that gives you is in the starting phase, if the attached model does not have a death sentence marker, attached model gains its marker. So if gives you a death sentence marker, we covered this previously. The death sentence marker gives you when you're attacking a model with it, you gain +1 to your melee pool. When you're shooting, you gain +1 to your ranged, I believe, and you also gain +1 strength, I believe, when sort of leaving out damage. So we'll
I really don't
that.
like this model. This model is big and scary. I want it to be killed. Therefore, I'm going to attach this to it.
Exactly, yeah. So it's a good way of like killing it off. Now, you can remove a death sentence marker at the start of the phase by spending 3 ki if you choose to. So it's also a good way of stripping like ki away from like mainly heavy fighter sort of models is a good way to do it. Or those who are going to be spending ki to say for example witches who are needing ki to do things is a good way to do it. So you can plan ahead. Now,
while it has a death sentence marker attached, model loses the fear trait, and models with the deep type gain bonsai when declaring charges against the attached model.
So you see, you'll only have one of it, and it's a special because you're getting it with the band. So banzai means you can charge an enemy model as a simple action. You use 2 of your activation points to do it, which is really awesome.
Just to clarify, and correct me if I'm wrong, once the opponent's model has been destroyed, you cannot then put this on another model. It's done.
Correct.
Yeah, okay.
So that's a good way of targeting, or targeting something like a heavy hitter of like the enemy. So you'll go like, okay, for example, me, if you were attacking me, you would be like, I'm going to put that on, say, Minamoto Yuji, for example. And, he's a heavy hitter. I want that, but this is going to give me a bit of second pause to be like, oh, might not want him in that situation because, like things are going to hurt him very, very quickly. So yeah, good way
I
to
have
sort
a
of control
lovely idea, Ben. I should attach it to one of your bears because you can't recharge your bears. In order to get rid of it, you have to give up its life. I think that could be evil.
Plan well because I can't unfortunately go on animals. I like your plan though, but you can't do it.
I was really clever.
You know what I did? I did a reverse Uno card on you right there.
All right, where do you want to go next?
Oh, I don't know. We'll start with maybe Anko.
Anko? Yep.
Let you go first.
So, Anko will cost you 13 rice. He is a deep and a umimimimum. Umimimum.
Yep. Yeah.
Thank you for that, GCT. You've done that to us on purpose, I'm sure. He's got 3 melee. You can up it for 3. It moves 4. It has 6 health, or 6 wounds, I should say. It's got 1 in ranged. It starts with 2 ki, and it can hold up to 6. There's 0 strength in your claws, but it does have drag attack for 0. It has fear 4, jump up, lightning reflexes, vengeance, red pearl. So it likes attacking the red pearl miniatures. On the other side, we have Hypnotic Gaze, which is 2 ki. It's a special attack, and it has to have a target within 12 inches. I forget what OKI is. Opposed key attack. Yeah. Base to base, and it's once per turn. Target enemy model loses an activation counter and gains 1 stunned marker. Could potentially be very nasty. And Elysium it costs you 1 ki. It's an instant, and it's a pulse of 6 inches. Once again, you can't have it in base to base. Sorry, previous one. You can't have it in base to base because it's red. Once per turn, once again. When an enemy model targets a friendly model in the pulse, you may charge the target model to this. Sorry, you may change the target to this model instead. if the model is a valid target. So, no, you can't attack them, you have to attack me. That would be very helpful, especially if you were being faced with somebody that is the Red Pearl. Then you can kind of force them to attack you and not ignore you, because it's going to be getting all those bonuses.
Say, for example, it's going to go, enemy model's going to go into a model that you don't want
Yeah.
being attacked. You can basically say, no, hey, over here.
Also, because he's the anglerfish with the lovely light on his head, he can never gain camouflage trait, which makes so much sense.
I like hypnotic gaze because, I mean,
Yeah.
you can strip counters. That's really, really cool. And it's just a simple action to do. So it's not a complicated action, which normally doing doing those sort of pose key tests can sometimes be. But yeah, and then also like giving them a stun marker. So obviously, when you got a stun marker, you have -1 melee pool.
Yeah, I can see this guy being kind of terrifying on the table, honestly. I mean, the counter to this is obviously get him in base to base, because it's only 0 on that claw. And then once it's in base to base, it can't really do anything else. But don't get your red model in there, because your red model's going to get taken out.
So he's really good. I like also the fact that he's got Fear 4.
Yes.
Fear 4 is really good against something like a low level troop, like an Ashigaru or like a villager or something. Like it's a 50-50 chance. So on a 4+, you'll be able to like do something. Or if he moves into combat with it, like on a 4+, you could potentially make the enemy, scared or frightened, and that's also benefits you. I like also jump up. I mean, clearly, if you get prone, I hate being prone. But jump up is always really good. And lightning reflexes, being able to strike first all the time, that's really cool too.
Yeah. A strong contender, and as is always the stuff with GCT, it's very, very thematic to what the miniature is.
Yes.
It all just kind of makes sense. Like, hypnotic gaze is pretty much what these creatures are known for in real life.
Yeah.
So up next we have the Predator. Because he's got the big gaping open maw. So Jaime is 10 rice. Once again, it's deep and umimimivan.
Umimiman. Umimiman. Basically, it means like the mute, like the I don't want to say mutant because that refers that makes me think Power Rangers and Ninja Turtles and all that sort of stuff.
Jaime has 2 melee. He can up it for 3.
Mm-hmm.
He moves 4, which is obviously clearly a standard for them. He has 7 wounds. He has 2 ranged, but he can up it for 3. He starts with 1 key, but once again he can hold 6. He has claws, which has no strength, push defense 0, force back attack 0. He has a sonic wave in ranged, which is a special attack, which is lightweight. It has a medium range of 3. Once again, we have Fear 4, Jump Up, Vengeance, Red Pearl, Stunned. So again, very clearly, there is a theme happening here. First special ability here is Slippery, which costs you 1, needs to be active, and it's personal. When this model makes a disengage action, it may double its melee pool. If it does, this model must allocate all dice to defense. This key feat may only be used once per activation, which I think is fair, honestly. Warcry is 2. Once again, you need to be active. This model gains Fear 6 until the current action is resolved, which, given the way that this thing looks, makes a lot of sense because it's just terrifying. You can't tell me you're going to see that screaming at you and feel comfortable attacking it.
Yeah.
Unique effects. When this model makes a successful ranged attack, instead of a damage roll, the target gains a stun marker. This is also on a medium base. It's on a 40 mil base, where the previous one was only on the 30.
Obviously, jump up is really good. Prevents you from being prone and that sort of items. But push defense and force back attack really quite cool. So push defense is obviously really push defense is 0. So your melee is only 2, but you're not having to spend any dice to perform that ability. being able to push enemy out of a position or away from like an idol is really, really cool. Force back attack is doing the exact same thing, so pushing him, but you're moving along with him. So it allows you, and especially if you're a 40 mil base, gives you a bit of a buffer there. Also quite cool. Yeah, he's got. I mean, for 10 rice, he's got like a few sort of like options, which is always good to have.
And the fact that we're 2 models in and we're already starting to see how they work together, which in the theme boxes seems to be a little bit more common. It does also,
Yeah.
the other side of that coin though is that it also means that you need to learn how they work together, and that just means you need more time on the table.
Anko.
Yep. He
So
costs 10 rice. He's deep,
he's got a
jellyfish,
keep model.
and
He's
unknown.
jellyfish. He's got a melee pool of 1. He's got a movement of 0. He's got 4 health.
10 rice, 1 melee, 0 movement, 2 ranged, 4 wounds, 4 key. But he can't carry any.
He's got tendrils.
-2 strength.
He's got a wear, hard walk, verbal, endurance, immune to control and stun, range defense 1.
Which will stack with the one that comes with your theme.
He's got 6 sense, so he can't be surprised because he can see everything. For 10 rice, I think he's amazing. Errated from memory. So from memory, I believe the errata says that this model cannot gain scout or flank. This model cannot declare melee, disengage, and I think it's charge actions. So that part of the card has been altered.
Enemy models in base to base with this model in the starting phase generate 1 fewer activation counters. Before or after this model performs any action, it may move 3 inches. Once per activation, when this model enters base to base with an enemy model, or an enemy model enters base to base with this model, that enemy model gains an immobilized marker after activation is resolved.
I like this as well for some of the missions. So all knowing in the end phase.
If this model is in base to base with an enemy model, those models' owners must reveal those if those models are the VIM.
That's really cool. He's like, "Are you the Vim?" And he puts the tendrils on it. It's like, "Nope, you're not. I'll drift away." So it's a good way to discover who's what.
Analyze. Enemy models in base to base with this model cannot be nominated to take the tactical test. And then we have conclusion. When a friendly Kancho or Jwar model activates, the opposing player must declare which model they will choose as their next activating model. If the model becomes ineligible before it is chosen as the activating model, then another model can be chosen without restriction.
It means you can sort of plan ahead for that, which is really cool.
Yeah.
I like him for 10 rice. He's amazing. And he's on the standard base of 30.
The more I hear about this character, the more I think about Jellyfish, the Jellyfish scenes in Finding Nemo, where they end up in the giant mess of them and they can't really do anything about it because they're giant man of wars, and if you move, you're screwed basically. Maybe just turn your camera off and see if it stops you cutting in and out.
But then people can't see my beautiful face.
No, I know.
So, I like him for durable. I like him for endurance. So, with endurance, for those who don't know, this model suffers no melee penalty for being exhausted. You can't have a. He's always got to have 1 dice, which is really cool.
Yeah.
Just the fact that he's immune to control and stunned, and that range defense too is going to be amazing. On him. So I like him for 10 rice. He's amazing.
For 10 rice, he's incredible.
You should really mess with people's plans.
Yeah. There seems to be a lot of things in this force that's playing around with people's activations. So, like, you're getting every turn, you're getting 2 opportunities to find out who they're going to activate next, and then you can kind of decide whether you're going to let that happen or not. Because obviously, if you take them out, they can't activate, or you can prepare for whatever they're going to do and make sure that it's not going to work. Or I'm going to say Munagi. I may be saying it wrong. 13 rice, deep, uminimum. Uminimum. I'm not going to say that right, and I'm not getting it wrong on purpose. It's too much of a tongue twister.
It is.
So 3 melee, you can boost it for 3. Moves 4 again, has 6 wounds. Got range 2. He generates 1 key, but he can hold 6. He has a concentric bite, which makes sense if you look at the picture. It's got +1 strength, bleed. It gives a bleed token. Gives 1 bleed 1. It's got pierce 2, sharp 2, and he's got drag attack 0. Once again, we see fear 4. Once again, we see jump up and vengeance red pearl. And he has an ability called rend. So it costs you 1. You need to be active, and it's personal. This model's melee weapon gains brutal +1 until the current action is resolved. This model may use this feat only once per melee exchange.
So brutal 1
Yeah.
plus is adding +1 to your damage. Oh, so your melee when you're your melee result.
Yep.
Which is going to be really cool.
There was a number of things here that Ben wanted to highlight. Bleed was definitely one of them, not just because it works with this particular character, but it works very well with a lot of other Jung abilities as well. There's also Pierce, which helps against armor, Sharp 2 with toughness.
And then drag attack. So drag attack is obviously when you zero. So this, you're going to always do that, and then you'll be able to move your opponent into out of position. Yet again, it's messing with people's plans. That's really what this faction is about doing. It's throwing a spanner in the works. If somebody's going to go be in a zone or next to an idol, you can do drag attack and you can drag them out of the way or out of position in where your guys can swamp them. So especially your cheap little dudes are going to it's going to be it's really cool for 0. So not costing you anything. I think it's brilliant. Drag attack. If the attack is successful, move the attacker 1 inch directly away from the defender. So any direction you choose to. Then move the defender 1 inch directly towards the attacker.
Jung Kaikoku is 20 rice, so this one's up there. Deep, this is the Kancho, and it's a samurai, and it's an Umimiman. I think I got it right that time, maybe.
You did quite well. You're getting there.
3 melee. You can boost it for 3. You got 4 movement. He's got 7 wounds. He's got 2 ranged. He generates 2 key. He can hold up to 8, and he can boost key attacks for 3. Tentacles. There's no strength on this. He does have reach. Chain weapons 2. Grapple attack 0. Grapple defense 1. And drag attack 0. He also has an ink spray, which is lightweight. It's a special attack. It's 2, 4, and 6 for the range band. He has fear 5, because he's a giant octopus. He's immune to prone, stunned, and spirit block. That's huge. Indomitable 8. Intangible. Prowess melee 1. Tough 1. And vengeance red pearl.
Indomitable 8. So basically, Indomitable is if you have more than one model against you, you count as being outnumbered. But with Indomitable, you ignore that. He can have 8 dudes. He can have 8 opposing models in contact with him, and he doesn't care.
Yeah,
because he's got 8 wounds. He's like, you all get away from me.
And that's definitely something that's going to interfere with people's plans again. His first ability is called Inspiration. It costs you 2. He needs to be active, and it needs to be a target within 6 inches. It's once per turn. Target-friendly model faction with rice cost of less than this model gains +1 to its melee pool or ranged pool until the end phase. He likes to help his friends. Lurker will cost you 2. Again, you need to be active. This one's personal, but you can't be within base to base. This model gains Camouflage 2 until the end phase. Thrash is also going to cost you 2. This one's instant, and it's personal. Models in melee exchange with this model lose the dodge trait until the current action is resolved. Unique effects. Kaikoku in this model's warband gain Vengeance red pearl. This model may only target Sameniman, Kanemiman, and Uminiman models with its inspiration feat. So any of the mutants, basically. Because that's shark people, crab people, and yep.
Then
And last but not least, ink spray. Successful range attacks with this model do not cause damage, but the target gains a blind marker.
okay, so and he's on a 40 mil base, so he's large,
Yeah.
so that also will work with the intent in model. All right, so I so yet again, this he's all about messing with people's plans. I like the inspiration on him because all your cheaper fish dudes will gain benefit.
Yep.
Then you've also the fact that he's also got grapple 0 and grapple attack 0 and grapple defense 1. The drag attack is good. But grapple defense 1, that's kind of like that's very very octopus. If you think about what they do, they'll latch on and hold people, so that's what grapple does. And then so basically they'll be immovable. When you have the successful combat, you'll be held. So basically, you can't move at all.
Yep.
So that then gives the opportunity for all the other fishmen to swamp the enemy, and be able to cause more damage.
I'm tempted to say that you just want to throw this into the middle of groups of people. I know that there's risks involved with that because obviously it means that you're taking attack after attack, but they're going to regret that more than you are, I feel.
Yeah, the toughness 1 helps him in this way. I mean, unlike he's your samurai, so he's your combat. So every box set usually needs like a combat ability model, this is your piece. So samurai giving melee prowess, so you can reroll, your defense dice. Sorry, your attack or defense dice, which is good, always helpful. Intangible, so that's basically your ignoring. What's intangible again? Intangible is you ignore zone of controls. So this model ignores zones of controls and terrain elements during movement. So basically, he can get to places where he needs to be with the 4 movement.
Because you can never stop an octopus from getting away.
Yeah, they're really hard to get. Yeah, really hard to keep. No, I really like him. For 20 rests, not bad. There are some equipment items in Jung from memory, which you'll be able to lower his cost. I can't remember off the top of my head what they are. But yeah, no, I like him. Yeah, he's great for 20. He benefits your faction for sure.
For me, this is the model I'm buying the faction for, visually.
Yeah.
And rules wise. It's the rare
I also like
occasion where it's
Thrash as
both.
well. Yeah. Thrash also is really cool as an instant key.
Yeah.
So you lose dodge, which is always helpful. And Lurker's not bad to keep him safe. So you can 2 inches from the terrain element, makes you harder to hit with also your range defense. So if he's on low wounds and you need to get him to where he needs to be, you can ignore zones of control, you can ignore terrain, and you can gain camouflage and just hide out if you need to.
Yeah.
Very much like an octopus. I think that ink spray is probably the only thing I don't really like about him. But I mean, it's just a very situational thing. It does give him like options, which I also do quite like. So I'm kind of torn by it because in my head I'm like I wouldn't really use it much, but I mean, yeah, the being able to give the blind mark is also quite good. So yeah, he's got options. I like him for 20 rice. He's not bad at all.
I also like the whole, like, if for some reason you are taking a different Kaikoku in this model's warband, he will just give out that red pearl.
He sort of allows you now to take and benefit. Like, if you wanted to do all like the mutant creatures, so if you wanted to do all the sharkmen, if you wanted to do all the crabmen, he sort of ties it all together.
That's what I would love to do.
Pretty simple.
Yep.
I'll go through. So yeah, they're 3 rice. You can have 4 of them, up to 4. On the card, you'll see A, B, C, and D. That allows you to have 4 of these, and there are 3 rice each. They've just got a melee pool of 1, no range, movement of 3, 1 key. They can't hold anything, but that's just for opposed key tests. Claws, which have -2 strength. You've got sidestep, sidestep attack 0 and sidestep defense 0 because you're always scuttle because you're a crab. They've got armor 3. They've got dread, fear 6. They've got group. They're insignificant and they're tiny. So tiny's going to help you against ranged attacks. Group, you can be able to move them all in one if you wanted. He's got no unique effects or abilities on the back of the cards. But yeah, armor 3 is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Especially for a little tiny crab. The models making a fear test against this model reduce their key statistic by X, and cannot reduce the number of dice rolled below 1 dice. Enemy models with fear values equal to or higher than this model's fear value do not automatically pass their fear test against this model. So Dread and Fear 6 really, really cool for a 3 rice model.
Yeah. This is something that I feel that's just going to be annoying more than anything else.
Yeah.
Especially for 3 rice. So we're finally there. Mother of Pearl is 19 rice. So this is your other large, chunky model. Well, points-wise anyway. She is deep and yokai! If you don't know where that comes from, then you need to see more Robin Williams movies. She has melee of 1. She can boost it for 3. She moves 5. She has 6 wounds. She has range 2. She can boost it for 3. She starts with 3 key. She can have 8, and she can boost her attacks for 3. Key attacks, I should say. Sorry. Unarmed strike, which is special. Sidestep defense 0. She also has Watery Grave, which might be the best name for an attack I've ever heard. Strength plus X. Pierce X, which we will have to come to in a moment. Because that's the first time I've ever seen that.
Yep. And what? So yeah.
3, 4, and 5 for the range band. Fear 5. Fearless.
Yep.
Immune. Prone. Protected. Crab. 3 inches.
Yep.
And Vengeance Red Pearl.
Okay, so with I like protection crab. That's awesome. The protection crab was it 3?
Yep.
So before this model suffers a damage roll as a result of melee or ranged attack, you can remove a friendly descriptor, a crab, model within X inches from play and suffer no damage roll. So she's basically like little tiny crabs.
Yep.
She uses
so
little
it's
tiny crabs
lookout
as
Sir,
shield.
essentially.
Yeah, protect me, little tiny crabs.
Yep.
Oh, she's great.
We'll
move on to
Curse of Doom will cost you 4. It's simple. Target needs to be within 8 inches, and it's once per game. Place 4 Doom tokens on a target model. During the starting phase, remove a Doom token. When the last Doom token is removed, the model suffers 7 wounds. This is outright nasty.
It's really, really good.
I don't like you. You will die in 4 turns. And if you're ever going to cast this, you need to say it like that too. I don't make the rules. I just write them down and say them out loud.
Yeah.
You are not allowed to use this without sounding really creepy. She also has Paralyze, which will cost you 2. Simple. Target needs to be within 8 inches, and it's an opposed key attack. Target enemy model becomes immobilized and gains slow until the end phase. Again, ruining other people's plans. Tokiko's Choice will cost you 1. It's an instant and it's a pulse within 6 inches. You can't be in base to base though. When an enemy model that is not soulless in the pulse is killed, replace it with a friendly Miyamoto's Echo. So this is another way to get more crabs, essentially. So if you have a model that's about to die because of the Doom, pulse.
The crab.
Yep.
Awesome.
Unique effects. If this model is killed in a melee exchange, the opposing model is replaced by summoning a friendly Miyamoto's Echo into this model's warband. While this model is in play, models with a red pearl enhancement remove a Doom token whenever a VP is scored. Sorry, whenever a victory point is scored. So I think we know who you want to be putting those Doom tokens on then.
So it's place 4 Doom token. So that's what 4. So that's going to be 1 per turn. And you probably get this off on the second turn. And then second turn, at the end of it, you'll remove 1. And then you'll remove 1 at the end of turn 3. Also, turn 3 is potentially a scoring turn. You're gonna kill that thing. That Curse of Doom is going to quickly gain effect. Quite cool. Move on to Drown.
During the end phase, enemy models that have held or immobilized markers suffer 2 wounds. Models working together. Watery Grave. This weapon's pierce value and weapon strength is variable. X is equal to the enemy model's armor trait value. This model may only be recruited into a warband that has recruited the deep theme. So she will not work with anybody else. She will only work with her own theme. And pretty much the more armor they have, the more they're going to fear you. So how are those mini model motos of yours sounding, Ben? I don't think you want to face this faction very much.
I think Water Grave is awesome. It's just very thematical. So basically, the heavier armor the ability going to be, like the more damage you're going to get done to you. I like the fact that you've got Drown, so you'd be able to do those additional effects because, as we were saying before, this faction is definitely working together to pump out those different states. I reckon she's one. Also, she's also on a 40 mil base, so she's going to be quite larger. And the model is beautiful. She's stunning. She's definitely a centerpiece model, and she's awesome in with the theme. I like her very much. I think she's great. But also the fact it's she's not a fighter. That's not what she's here to do. She's out there to just cast spells and cause tricks. But also the fact you can. I like her unique effects. If you die, you get a crab for free. If you kill an enemy model and you suddenly you summon Mia Como Echo. I don't think though that you can go past your starting. So if you have 4 of them and then you kill something, you can't. That won't trigger off. You'll have to have the availability on the card. So you always have a maximum of 4. But you in the box set, I believe it's 2. You definitely want more. You definitely want to be buying at least 4 of those guys. I think she's great. Now, was it also if they kill you, you summon a crab?
Yeah.
I like.
So the thing with summoning the crabs is, you have to remember to do it, but it's an instant. So if you see somebody's about to die, all you need to do is fire it off, assuming that you have that one key. And she always needs to have 1 key just in case, basically.
So instant can be done at any time. So instant can be done at any time. So at the result of a combat, say for example your tentacle monster octopus basically kills somebody in combat, you can go, cool, I'm going to spend a key. I'm gaining a crab for free.
Yeah.
Plus, you'll be able to use those to protect yourself.
Yeah, she's phenomenal, and she finishes the puzzle. These guys all work together very well. And we haven't even looked at the supporting material yet. We've just looked at the models. Deep Water is an event card. Models, other than the Kinenemen and Crab models, gain -X to their move statistic, where X is their armor trait value until the end of the current activation. The requirement is that you need to run the Deep theme. Crustacean Superiority.
That's right.
Play this in the starting phase. Friendly Kinenemen models and Crab models gain endurance until the end phase. This event may not be played in the same turn as Kakaran Superiority.
So Carcarian superiority is cost you 2 rice, a maximum of 1, and a shiver of sharks is the little text at the bottom. And then we've got, as the event, it says play in the starting phase. Friendly Samarian and shark models gain coordinated attack Samarian until the end phase. This event may not be played at the same turn as crustacean superiority.
Yeah. So you can have one, but not both in the same turn, which I think it's only like that would be if you could use both in one turn, that would not be fair.
Going in. Electric Eel, 14 rice. He's an animal, deep, and he's got eel as his trait there. He's got attack of 3. He's got movement 4, range 3, 2 key, can't hold any because he's an animal. He's got 7 health. That's pretty good. He's got Pringle Jaw, which is +1 strength, which has got reach and grapple attack 1. So reach, being able to strike first, is good. He's got Call Lightning, which is lightweight. It's got no strength bonus, but it's got a mid range of 3. He's got Agile, Aloof, Aware, Fear 4, Immune to Immobilized and Held, and Evasive. So you can never, like every eel, is slippery and can't grab him. So back to his card. Unique effects. While this model declares a walk or run, or melee, or charge action, once its move is complete, it makes a range attack against each other model, friendly and enemy, in range and of line of sight in any order. These attacks are not affected by the penalty for having made a range attack previously in the turn. It may perform these range attacks even whilst in base-to-base contact with an enemy model or in enemy model's zone of control. This model may not declare range attack actions. It's part of its other one. So basically, it's moving around like a torpedo and doing its lightning attack. So you want to throw him down like the down range, basically down the field, and moving him in, because once he's around all, you'll be able to like strike everybody with that effect. That's really, really cool. Call Lightning is really, really cool.
So the reason on screen that you're seeing there's certain stuff here in red is because this had an errata. So when you're doing the ranged attack, you are also ignoring camouflage. And when you're declaring the attack, the targets must all be declared at the start and they can't change once they've been declared. So you can't just ignore your own friendly units because something changes. Essentially is what that means. So it's been worded in a way to make sure that you can't get away with it.
Yeah, previously in the turn, so also range attacks previously in the turn, and do not test if at base-to-base contact with any other model. So so that's what the errata is there for him. They just needed to clear things up, obviously, once he got released. I think 14 rice, I think, is really cool.
Yeah.
It's going to boost you. It's the agile and aloof. I mean, okay, aloof, you might not be able to do scenario actions. That's neither here nor there. But that's not what he's there to do. He's there to go out, cause as much damage and panic as he possibly can. I mean, just with that Call Lightning, you just throw him down the field and just try to like cause as much damage as you possibly can to your opponent. That's great.
So just very, very quickly, just because we wanted to show it off, that's what the miniature looks like. It's currently available as a limited time exclusive type thing, much like the box itself. So watch this space, essentially. It will be available for purchase again. Pay attention to the GCT Studios Facebook page, essentially. That's where it always gets announced. We want to very quickly touch on what I think is the last thing, which is the terrain Tsunami Stones. This is a terrain piece. It's impassable, blocking, and medium, and destructible. It's on a 40mm base. It costs you 4 rice, and you can only have one of them. This terrain must be deployed within 3 inches of the center line, while friendly Kaikoku models are completely within the half of the battlefield divided by the center line containing your deployment area. Those models generate one additional key token during key generation, while friendly Kaikoku models are completely within the other half of the battlefield. When declaring a walk, run, or melee action, those models may gain +1 move until the end of the current activation. If they do, they must move towards their deployment area. So
Yes,
it's an easy way of getting more movement, essentially. But
pretty
only in
much.
one.
Yeah,
It's
I'm
but only
like,
in one direction.
yeah. I don't mind it at all. I mean, it's not bad. I mean, I think you could spend your rice elsewhere. The terrain, the deep terrain box set is awesome itself. You can always pick that up separately. I like that GCT are releasing faction terrain, which is really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, the +1 key generation that'll help you, but also like the +1 move. So when you're in the other half, like if you need to move elsewhere, get away from trouble, that's also good as well. Elements is the rock pool. So
Yep.
that's a 30 mil base. It's difficult, clear, 0, and it's destructible. The terrain element must be deployed within 6 inches of the center line. Every time a VP is scored in the end phase, summon and deploy a friendly Ayakomo, Echo, or Horseshoe Crab into play in base-to-base contact with the terrain element. And the requirement is the deep thinking. So for 2 rice and a 30 mil base, you can only have one, but I think that's fantastic. So horseshoe crabs are amazing. They're really, really good. Um, and also the fact this gives you more options to spam out those crabs.
Yeah.
So I even think you don't even need to buy them straight off. Like you can summon them into play. Like there's so many ways of being able to do that through like the Mother of Pearl, this item as well. You'll get using your crabs for sure.
And hey, until you can buy them separately, buying those crabs is also an easy way of getting those extra 2 crabs you want to use too.
Yeah.
At
But
least
also the
until
fact
you
that
can get them.
yeah, but also the fact that you can use the horseshoe crab, which most of the people will have, players will have. It's great.
Yeah.
I like the other one. We've also got is in the terrain box set. There is this storm wall, which is requirement of the deep theme. It's cost you 3 rice. It's a 50 mil base, so it's quite large. It's a difficult, obscuring, and huge. Deploy this terrain element on on your own half of the battlefield. Models with Cloud Walk treat this terrain element as impassable. In the start phase, move this terrain element 1 inch. This terrain element may never overlap impassable terrain. So that gives you like another sort of way to sort of like hinder like Tengu or anything with Cloud Walk. So anything that can usually ignore terrain, this will give you a way to buff to stop that for free rice. Not bad. The weapons cache, which
Yes.
also comes in the box. The weapons cache is not that card isn't part of the box set itself. Sorry, the box set itself. It comes in the Weeping Sky pack. Um, from memory, I believe the weapons cache was created. Was the terrain? There was a terrain competition GCT did, and that was the winning item, which is awesome. The terrain. So now the terrain has a model. So it's impassable. It's blocking. It's small. Destructible. So during deployment, place 3 loot tokens on this card. A model in base-to-base contact with this terrain element at the end of its activation may choose one of the following once per activation. Remove a loot token and add an ammo token to that model. Remove a loot token from this card to remove a reload marker from that model. Remove a loot token on this card to attach a permitted enhancement equipment card to the model. That card must cost 1 rice or fewer, and this terrain element must be placed within 6 inches of the center line and not within 3 inches of the board edge. It's a 30 mil base. It's a 30 mil terrain element, and it's going to cost you 2 rice. It's a
And
nice item to have.
I like that it needs to be placed close to you, but it's not allowed to be on your deployment zone, essentially, because that means you have to work for it. You can't just be, oh, well, I'm just going to sit this next to my models and never move them. No, you have to work for it. You have to get there first, which means you can't really take advantage of it until the next turn.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I believe the reason for that is there are models in the Zhong faction that have like cannons, and basically you don't want a cannon just sitting in your back line like pegging shots into people. Like,
yeah, it just wouldn't be fair.
Oh, there's an event called the Deep Dive. So play at the starting phase, choose a friendly deep model until the end phase of that. To the end phase, that model cannot declare melee or charge actions and gains camouflage 2. It costs you 1 rice and a maximum of 2 of these. What lurks in those deep waters? So that's requirements for the deep. So that's also a great way to protect your little weaker troops and get them to where they need to be.
I like to this box set more than any of the others has been designed to work very specifically with everything that comes with it. Which, yes, does mean that you're going to have a learning curve with this, but I don't mean that in a negative sense. Learning this box set and learning how to use it is going to be a lot of fun.
I think all the if we would call this a sub-faction box, or a theme. Sorry, I should call this. Let's call this a themed box. I think all the themed boxes, we've seen this in the past, sort of like work quite well together because that's what they're meant to do. They're quite strong together. But if you take some of those models away and then you put them into your existing faction, they'll benefit as well. So it's like inclusive. It's specialized, but also inclusive as well. Onto a winner with this one. And I'm really keen to see what they do.
I just want to say thank you very much, Ben, because you put all of these images and got everything together. We will be coming back with another one at some point. We are doing this in between real world responsibilities and so forth. And both of us are kind of keen to not burn ourselves out doing the series either. So, yeah, Thank you very much.
All right, mate. The next one.
If you buy this box, then I don't need to.
I just bought the Awoken.
I still want the Awoken.